Hey everybody, welcome to or welcome back to Follow the Moon Rabbit Unscripted, my podcast where we explore the mystical, the spiritual, the taboo, and the unseen realms. I'm your host, Michelle, your Moon Rabbit author. That's right, I'll slit it. And today we're going to talk about manifesting, how to say yes to your dreams, and how it helped me write my book. So, let's get into it. First and foremost, I want to apologize for this one going up late. During January, I had 3 weeks of a cold, and that cold took my voice for 2 weeks, which is fine because I was doing my 7-day book challenge. However, it got to the point where I couldn't do any editing on any of my videos, and I couldn't record any content because I didn't have a voice. Sadly, I don't know sign language, so there's that. So yeah, I do have things. I just wasn't able to edit because I was ill, and then I couldn't record because I was ill, and I didn't have a voice, and so here we are. Voice is back. Still haven't replaced my eyelashes yet from having the cold, so we're just gonna make do with my eyelashes being gone. And yeah, so let's get into it. For real this time. So first, we're going to talk about the beginning of the manifestation process and how I even got to this section. I am incredibly strong believer in manifestation. I am an advocate for manifesting. I manifest all the time. I'm also an agent of change. I go through change like nobody's business. So when it comes to manifesting things, changing things, it's a thing, and I do it rather, I can't say effortlessly, but I do it rather often. So when I first got the idea to write a book, or to write in general, was when I was like a teenager in high school. I loved my English lit classes. I loved every aspect of studying English literature. I don't know if you can see in my background, I have books back there. So I have like my favorite books, Edgar Allan Poe, Emily Dickinson. And then I have a plethora of books in my living room that either in boxes or bookshelves or whatever the case may be. I used to have more. I did. I had to get rid of some of them though, because I didn't have enough space. It's okay. I will have my library someday. It's all right. And for the book lovers, you know. So yeah, I've always wanted to write, and I had manifested the ability to write multiple times. So it showed up in my career path, in my career life, as being a contract writer, proposal writer, a technical writer. So yeah, I've done a lot of writing. However, I didn't create something that was like a drama or whatever. Back in, I'd say, early 2000s, I had a blog that I would just write my random thoughts on. It was like having my own online journal, and I shared my thoughts and my creative writing there. And I also was able to manage the, like, where my viewers were coming from. And Penguin Putnam was one of them that consistently would stop by and read my blog. So before I could even turn that into something amazing, I ended up taking a different turn in my career path because I wanted a different opportunity. And so I went into management. I should have stuck to writing. But like I said, writing has consistently shown up for me in my career. So the idea, though, of writing an actual book, writing something that was fantastic and like a Stephen King or a J.K. Rowling's, that I didn't think that I could ever get there because I didn't feel like I had a story of that caliber in me. And even now, I don't necessarily feel like I have that kind of a story at that caliber in me. However, I do have lots of wisdom and life experience that I'm willing to share. So that's what I started with. In the mid 2000s, I had an opportunity two different opportunities to be an author. However, I hit some serious roadblocks. That was during the terrible decade. Could not for the life of me break away from what needed to happen during that terrible decade. Could not break away from it. So last year when we moved here, I decided, I have an opportunity to write, and so I'm going to do that. And then more obstacles and roadblocks occurred. So for 2025, I was doing my manifestation, like, and I will go over this process with you guys. I was doing my manifestation visuals for 2025, and on there, I wanted to at least have a book in draft form by the end of this year, because I knew myself well enough to know that if I don't put it on a list of things to do, it won't happen. And then as it turned out, I came across this 7-day book writing and publishing challenge. And hey, I will go ahead and do that. I've got more than enough podcasts running. It'll take me no time. It's 7 days. And it's funny because Spirit warned me from the get-go. Spirit was like, hey, we see that you want to do this thing. We just want to let you know that if you do it, there's going to be obstacles. And I said, I don't care. I'm going to do this. And Spirit said, okay, that's cool. We're here to let you know that those obstacles are going to really slow you down. And I said, I don't care. I'm still going to do this. It's on my list of things to do. And Spirit said, okay, we hear what you're saying. There is a block that needs to be cleared in this process, and we're not sure if you're ready to clear this block yet. And I said, I am ready. I am going for it. I'm going to do it. And I'm going to put this on my calendar, and I'm not going to let anything or anyone deter me from doing this thing. And Spirit said, okay, let's see it. And so I did. And that's when I lost my voice, and then I got sick. So overall, I was able to clear a major communication block from that part of my chakra system, and that's great. That's great. Elevated to another level, great. That's fantastic. And I proved that when I say I'm going to do a thing, and I mean I'm going to do a thing, that Spirit understands that when I say I'm going to align myself to be in this part of my life, in this season of my life, Spirit is like, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. You are. And we've been waiting for you. So welcome. Welcome. So for this year, set the intention to have a draft of a book. And not only did I get the draft done, but I also got it published. So I will show you. Look. It's called Coffee, Crystals, and Chaos. Practical Magic During Messy Moments. And you can get that on Amazon. And you can roast me if you want. It's my first book. It's my first little itty bitty punchy book. It's tiny. And yeah, tell me how good or bad it is. That would be fantastic. So, looking into the actual manifestation practices that I used, this is a very loaded thing. The manifestation techniques that I have used, I've used over the decades, the Silva method meditation, which is like, incredibly powerful. I highly recommend it. And you can find that on, let's see, I think you can find it on YouTube. You can also find it through Mind Valley, which I highly recommend as well. Mind Valley is awesome for those kind of resources. And then for my spiritual practice, though, when I was doing this, I actually followed some scripting from another content creator. She's on TikTok and she's also on YouTube, Lexi Gigi. And that also helped tremendously. So I ended up writing out like a whole slew of things that of notes, and there was a lot of identity and concept work that went into this manifestation for this year, because it's geared to align you not only energetically, it's also geared to align you mentally and emotionally with what you're trying to manifest. And if any of you have studied manifestation techniques, it's you not only do you have to think it, you also have to feel it and believe it. So this this set of work took me about a week to put together, because I was creating vision boards and mind movies and writing what would I say? A declaration of who I am and what I'm achieving. So, um and when I did this I sat with the intention. I sat with my tarot cards, I sat with my crystals, I sat with my candles. Um it was very much my own personal ritual that I did. And so when the opportunity to do the 7-day book challenge came up, I felt like, oh, this is very much in alignment with what I'm trying to do. Because overall, the whole object of this is to just write something. Like, the way they put it is, you could cheat, you could use Chat GPT. You could write something super simple, like a tourist guide to Miami. For me, though, it was lining up some of the most imperative tools that I used in some of my most chaotic moments of my life to get through what I was getting through. And I thought, that would be a nice little quick coffee worth of wisdom, coffee cup full. So, the process of writing that, definitely, it aligned me more so with what I'm doing spiritually. It aligned me more so with my goals for this 2025, which is really cool. Really, really cool. So my my path to this, the process, if you will, was being certain of what I was going to achieve. And with that certainty, there was just absolute resolve that this is going to happen. And I am curious and open to receive all of the ways that will present the opportunity for it to happen. So, one of my biggest takeaways for a lot of people, like when you're trying to manifest something big, I'll tell you another story. Like, because, this story I'm telling you about the book that I just did, it was part of my manifestation for 2025. I manifested moving to Washington, and I did that in an incredibly small window, like a super narrow window. When my boyfriend and I moved to Northern California, we had decided if we love it here, we're going to buy a house here, we're going to stay here. And if we don't love it here, we're going to continue moving forward north because he has family in Oregon State. Well, in 2024, things were happening in our lives that we decided, look, it's better to rip the Band-Aid off now. We're not going to stay here in this place. It's been enjoyable, it's been helpful, it's been healing. It's been a lot of things. However, this is not where we're meant to stay. And so in a 30 to 60 day window, we transitioned from, okay, this place is not good for us anymore, to I now live in Washington State. That is how quick that got manifested. And there were bumps in the road. There were for sure bumps in the road. This is true. However, it came to be. It came into fruition. So when you decide you're going to do something, like if you're going to go be an author, you're going to go get a new job or a new career or whatever the case may be, first and foremost, you have to know that without a shadow of a doubt that what you're manifesting, what you've decided, is without a shadow of doubt going to happen. Do not put a timeline on it. For me, I had a timeline when I was moving from Northern California to Washington, because I have an expectation at this point. However, for this book writing, my expectation was to have a draft done by the end of the year. My expectation was not to have it completed, or have a book completed for that matter. So if you're new to manifesting, if you're struggling in manifesting, the expectation is that not to have a timeline on it, just that it will be done. It is out there and it will be done. And then just be open to receiving the opportunities. Be curious. Don't question it. Don't look for, well, why hasn't this happened yet? How come it's not happening? Oh my gosh, it should have been here by now. Just trust the process. I literally went through a terrible decade, 10 whole freaking years of absolute ass to get to this side of where I'm at, because I was manifesting an entirely new me, a new life, a new everything. And I was walking away from something that was a huge generational curse. It was incredibly massive. Okay. So don't get so hung up on, look, I said that I was going to be a millionaire by the time I was 22, and I just now got out of college, so why hasn't it happened yet? No. If you are going to be a millionaire and you're manifesting that you're going to be a millionaire, then you are going to be a millionaire. Here's the other thing, though. Don't limit yourself. Don't limit yourself. If you're going to be a millionaire, you're limiting yourself. I feel like I'm standing on a soapbox with this. Anywho, manifesting, you have to have certainty that what you're going to manifest is coming. You have to have incredible certainty. This is what's going to happen. I know this is what's going to happen. I'm curious and open to receive all the opportunities that are coming my way for this to happen. And if you want to put it out there to the universe that I'm going to know that this opportunity is for me because I'll feel this, put that out there. Your spirit team will work with you on that. You have to be willing to be open to all opportunities, though. It doesn't matter if it's a little 7-day book challenge. It doesn't matter if that means you have to quit your job. It doesn't matter if all of a sudden you have to do this, that, and the other. And that is number 2. Aside from knowing that you have to know that it's going to happen, you also have to take active steps in the direction of it every single day. Every single day. Like, you can't just be like, I played a lottery ticket 5 years ago and I should be a millionaire today. No. In fact, I don't advocate for you playing the lottery to become a multimillionaire, because that's not necessarily how the universe wants to gift you that energy. You have to be open to all the ways that it can happen. What if you get inspired to write a song? What if you get inspired to help an old man into his car? You're not going to know. You're not going to know if you're closing yourself off. Okay? What's imperative is that you take inspired action every day towards that manifestation. If you want to have a brand new body, then you should be taking steps, literally and figuratively, every single day towards the goal. Because once you are actually actively taking steps in that direction every single day, the universe responds in kind. Sometimes it'll throw mud and dirt in your face just to see how serious you are about being in alignment with that energy. And that's when you hunker down and you double down and you say yes. Yes. It's yes. It's a yes. Because when you say yes to the universe, then the universe responds back with a yes to you. See what I'm saying? Now, if you wanted to manifest something, it's imperative to take time to really think about, write about what it is that you're wanting to achieve. Because when you write this down on paper, it's no longer a pie in the sky idea. It's now an action. It's now a goal. It's now a list. It's now something that you can hold yourself accountable with. And so for me, during my terrible decade, I had written out some incredibly huge manifestations that I didn't know how they were going to happen. However, I had an expectation that they would happen. And it took probably a good solid 5 to 7 years for a bulk of those things to come into fruition. And I had to go through a lot of letting go and a lot of shadow work to get to some of those really super big manifestations. So again, it's when you're trying to change your life in a really dramatic way, be prepared to do the shadow work too. Because that's part of the work. Honestly, it's part of the steps. Whereas some people don't need to do that much shadow work, and that's good too. I'm just sharing my experience with manifesting. And my experience has been probably more challenging because I'm one of those generational curse breakers, which comes with a whole different bag of yummy goodies. Whole different bag of yummy goodies that need to be thrown out and worked through and cleansed and all of that. If you happen to have questions on manifesting, if you need clarity on manifesting, or if you want suggestions on what books you could read on manifesting, and resources or people to observe. Mind Valley has great manifestation meditations. Alexi Gigi on here on YouTube is also amazing. And she's very much a life manifester. So if you want to manifest something in your life, if you want to manifest a change in your life, she's got that down to a science. And she's also in astrology. So she works those manifestations into the astrology, which is incredibly helpful too. The Silva method is incredibly powerful. I highly recommend you look into the Silva method. Let's see what else. I'm pretty sure everyone's read The Secret. It's useful. It's also kind of generic at this point, but still, it's a good resource for manifesting. And then there's also another book that I can't recall off the top of my head, but it's from like the 1920s. And I read that right after I read The Secret. And I think that one was probably the more potent one. It goes over all of the laws, like the law of attraction, the law of abundance, the law of manifesting, so on and so forth. If you can get your hands on that, it's really, really good too. So, what did it feel like when I had my book finally finished and in my hand? Oh my goodness, you guys. When you accomplish one of your goals that you're manifesting, that feeling, like when you're imagining yourself manifesting this achievement and you're like, oh, I'm so excited. This is going to be awesome. Blah, 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 blah. Because I've written so many things previously, for me, it was just like, oh, yeah, I can definitely see myself doing it because I've written so many things before and this is going to be fine, blah, blah, blah. And I can't wait to see what it looks like. I'm excited for that. So when it finally happened and it was in my hand, I'm like, I've written documents that are like 1,000 times bigger than this, but never once did I feel as proud as I am right now about this little thing. Never once was I ever feeling that proud. So, I guarantee you, every bit of effort that you put towards your manifestation, so worth it. So worth it. Every bit of the oh, I don't have a voice, or my podcast isn't going to get up on time, or I can't record any videos, or I can't do any lives on any of my other platforms because I don't have a voice, or the fact that I'm coughing and now I'm sneezing and now I'm running a fever. Every bit of that struggle, every setback that I encountered in that 3-week window, so worth it. So worth it. And I would do it again. I would push through that again. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid of any of the obstacles that come up. Those are simply opportunities. For me, it was an opportunity to clear a huge block that I had for myself. And there may be obstacles that are going to come your way too. Opportunities to prove that, maybe you have some blocks that are there that need to be healed. Or there's something that you need to witness within yourself. Who knows? It could be anything, it could be nothing. That doesn't mean it's not for you, what you're trying to manifest. Every bit of effort is worth it. From my perspective, it's absolutely worth it. Making your dreams come true is absolutely worth it. So, what is something that you've been dreaming about creating or bringing into your life? When I used to be an employment training person, because I would train people who were on welfare and struggling to become employed or become re-employed. I also helped people who had been incarcerated who now needed to find employment. And a lot of them felt like their dreams and their goals and their aspirations were useless. They didn't deserve it somehow. Or it wasn't reasonable. It wasn't, geez. There's a lot of really, really low vibrational words that I could use right now. None of them realized that it was possible to change their life because nobody was there to ever tell them it is possible. And nobody was ever there to tell them, hey, I believe in you. I can totally see you doing this thing. And then to see them light up and realize that, hey, guess what? I can manifest something like this. I can live this kind of life. Really? When that happened, I saw people who were high school dropouts not only go get their high school diploma, they went to college and they went and became nurses. Nurses. Because that's what they wanted. That's what they wanted. I saw people start their own businesses because that's what they wanted. Look, friends, I believe in you. I know you all have the capacity to do the great things. And maybe your great thing isn't owning your own restaurant. Maybe your great thing is to have a 1-bedroom home on 10 acres of land so that you can homestead. I believe you can do it. I believe you can do it. In fact, I know you can. Be open to the opportunities. Be curious. You'll see. And then take those steps every single day. Speaking of steps, what inspired actions can you take today to move closer to those goals, to those dreams? Does it mean taking online courses? Does it mean saving coins in a penny jar? What does that mean? What does it look like? And keep in mind, when we are taking active steps toward achieving a goal or manifesting a dream to fruition, there is no timeline. Sometimes we create timelines, and that can actually be a hindrance. It can be a hindrance. So, say for an example, oh, I'm going to own my home in 5 years. Well, what if the opportunity to own a home came up in 2? Are you going to be closed off to that? What if the opportunity didn't come until 6? Does that mean you're going to give up on your dream? It's not always wise to put out timelines. What you can do is say, I will own my home. And you don't say someday. You say, I will own my home. And then you can work on like a vision board or a mind movie on how your home is going to look. What kind of trees are going to be surrounding your home? How would you decorate your home? That's what I have. And yet, for me personally, I'm not even ready to sit down and buy a home because I have a wandering soul. I like to travel. So think about those inspired actions, though. Get excited about it. That's the other inspired action to take. Be excited about what you're trying to manifest. Be excited about the goals. Be excited about the steps. Yeah, I'm working 2 jobs right now. Guess what? One of those jobs is paying for my brand new Porsche. Or I'm really excited to be working these 2 jobs because one of these jobs is paying for my son's college tuition. It's not always going to be easy. That I can assure you. Always going to be worth it, though. Have you ever stopped yourself from pursuing something because of doubt or fear? When you think about your goals and your dreams, do you say, oh, that's not feasible or that's not reasonable or nobody in my family's ever done anything like that, or I live in a town where that sort of thing can't happen? What are the excuses that you use to stop yourself from pursuing your goal or your dream? I know that one's kind of a rough question, huh? And then how can you shift those? See, the thing is, being afraid of achieving success is heartbreaking, honestly. I'm telling you, the world needs you to be you, and the world needs you to show up fully in your essence of dreams and goals being achieved. The world needs you. When you're not achieving your goals and you're not achieving your dreams, you are depriving us of your gift. That's heartbreaking. It's one thing to be afraid of the boogeyman. That makes sense. It's another thing to be afraid of Sasquatch Bigfoot. That also makes sense. Why would you be afraid of being a business owner? Why would you be afraid of being an author or a content creator? Why would you be afraid of being an oracle reader? Why would you be afraid of being a nurse or an artist? Why would you be afraid of being, I don't know, you, the real you? We need more of you to show up. Your kids, if you have kids, your fur babies, if you have fur babies, your friends, your family. Well, can't always say the family, honestly. I can definitely tell you the world needs you. The world needs you. Do you feel like you're lacking with tools or practices to help you connect your manifestation? I felt, for me personally, I had every tool, every practice, everything at my fingertips. I couldn't see them, but I knew that they were there. I knew that there was a solution to every obstacle that I encountered. You have to have that belief too. And then again, be open to what those are. We don't always like what those solutions look like. And I will tell you from my standpoint, from my perspective, when I was going through my terrible decade, part of the solutions to my problem required me taking out assistance. I was absolutely opposed to that. However, once I learned what those resources were and how they helped me, I was able to turn around and give back. And I'm very grateful for that opportunity. So, when you are open to the tools and the practices and the resources available to you, don't think that you're getting a handout, because it's not true. Utilize those resources and then pay it forward or pay it back. Give back to your community. That's what it's there for. Finally, if your success was inevitable, how would you show up differently for your dreams, for yourself, for your goals? What would that look like? That's something that I taught repeatedly. And it wasn't until I had to do a lot of internal work with myself, because I was struggling with a lot of different kind of fear. I could sit here and tell myself until I was blue in the face, well, if fear wasn't what was in my way, if success was inevitable, how would I in fact show up? Well, unfortunately, my little PTSD brain couldn't comprehend that or turn it into a reality. Again, if you're struggling with these types of things, it's okay. There are resources out there, and utilize them. It helps. And then when you have that clarity, you'll be able to come back to manifesting and being creative. And then you'll be able to answer the question, if success was inevitable, how would you show up? It's important to show up. So, I really want to hear your stories. And I want to hear your feedback. And I would love for you to look at my book and tell me how good or bad it is. That would be exciting. In the meantime, besties, this is all for this week on manifesting. Thank you for waiting for me. Thank you for coming by. Thank you for sharing with me. And more importantly, thank you for your time, because I know how valuable time is. If you enjoyed today's podcast, make sure you do the thing. Like, share, subscribe. Leave me some comments. I would be happy to talk to you in your comments. You can also connect with me on other social media platforms to keep in touch. And like I said, drop by Amazon, grab my little book, Coffee, Crystals, and Chaos, to review a roast. And until next week, follow the moon, shoot for the stars, and know that you're loved. Ciao, besties.